Hi dear students. So in the last class we have discussed about the errors that are the absolute error, mean absolute error, then percentage and relative error. Now in this section we are going to discuss about the combination of the errors. Suppose if you are having a value, a length of some particular object, it is given as 2 centimeters. Okay, and with a correction or error correction, it is given that plus or minus 0.5. Okay, 0.5. That is the given value of the length of one particular material, and again after that you are adding or you are joining one another particular material or particle which of 3 plus or minus 0.8 centimeters. Okay, now you can see that suppose if we are adding, suppose we are joining these two pieces, then the total length will be 5, and the correction, how will be or calculate the total correction or the total error in the case of the total length. Such kind of cases, such kind of situations, how to handle, that we are going to study today. Actually here 2 plus 3 will be 5, as well the correction will be plus or minus, you have to add both the absolute mean error values. So it is 0.5 plus 0.8, that is 1.3. That will be the total length of that particular material with error. So 1.3 will be the error over there. That is regarding the summation. Okay, let us come to this one, the combination of errors. First we are going to discuss about the error of a sum or a difference. Suppose two values are given with the error, the particular values are having a different errors, such two values are given, and you are going to add these two values. Okay, that is A and B, where the A value with the error delta A and B value with the error delta B, means A plus delta A and B plus delta B are the two values where delta A and delta B are the errors occurred in the calculation of A and B respectively. Now we are going to find out the value, that is the summation. We are going to take the sum of these both these values, Z is equal to A plus B. So suppose in the last case, as we have discussed, 5 and 2 centimeters with error 0.5 and 0.8, where you are adding directly A and B, that means 5 and 2, there you get 7 centimeters, and the correction was or error was 0.5 and 0.8. Okay, so here Z is A plus B, and we have to find out the total error Z delta Z. How can we find out the delta Z? So A is given with the error delta A and B is given with the error delta B. So by addition, Z plus or minus delta A Z, that means A plus or minus delta A plus B plus or minus delta B, where A plus B is Z and delta A plus delta B is delta Z. Okay, so the maximum possible error that can be occurred in this calculation will be delta A plus delta B, that is the maximum possible error, delta Z, and Z will be is equal to A plus B and delta Z will be is equal to delta A plus delta B. So hence the total, if you are writing it like this, means Z plus or minus delta Z will be is equal to A plus B plus delta plus or minus delta A plus delta B. Okay, this will be the delta A plus delta B. Wait, A plus B plus or minus delta A plus delta B. This will be the total value with error. Suppose if you are subtracting these values, then also Z will be is equal to A minus B and delta z will be is equal to the maximum error, that will be delta a plus delta b. Such a way you have to do. Okay, that is regarding the error of sum or a difference. So suppose the values are a plus delta a and b plus delta b, then z value will be is equal to a plus b. Suppose if you are adding these two values, then the z value will be is equal to a plus b, and the delta z value, that is the error, will be is equal to delta a plus delta b. Suppose if we are subtracting these two values, then z will be is equal to a minus b, but the delta z value will be is equal to delta a plus delta b. The error will be always, you are adding that errors, that means the maximum, we are going for the maximum error. Okay, that is delta a plus delta b. I think it is clear, the error of a sum or a difference. Now let us come to the definition. That is, when two quantities are added or subtracted, the absolute error in the final result is the sum of the absolute errors in the individual quantities. So the individual quantities were a and b, and the error in a was delta a and error in b was delta b. So the total error will be delta a plus delta b. Hence the absolute error of the result will be is equal to delta z is equal to delta a plus delta b, whether if it is subtraction or addition. Okay, now we are going to see the error of a product or a quotient. That means multiplication or division. So where z is equal to ab. Okay, and the error in the particular values a and b are delta a and delta b. So you can see that z plus delta z will be is equal to, z plus or minus delta z will be is equal to, that is z is ab. So a and b are given us with the error, it is a plus delta b, delta a and b plus delta b. So z is ab, as you have to multiply this one, a plus delta a into b plus or minus delta b. So multiplication is happening, that means you are opening the bracket, a into b, ab, a into delta b, okay, a into b, and then delta a into b, and afterwards a into delta b and delta a into delta b. Likewise you are getting, so the result will be is equal to ab plus or minus b delta a plus or minus a delta b plus or minus delta a into delta b. Now you are going to divide both the side with the z. That means z plus or minus delta z all divided by z will be is equal to 1 plus or minus delta z into z divided by z. So you know that here z is equal to ab. So instead of dividing here on the right hand side with the z, you are dividing all the terms on the right hand side with the ab. So the first one will be ab by ab will be 1, okay, and then delta a by b delta a by ab, that is will be is equal to delta a by a, and a delta b by ab will be is equal to delta b by b, then delta a by a and delta b by b. Okay, so here the delta a by delta a into delta b, or delta a by a and delta b by b, that will very negligible value. So we are removing that value, we are ignoring that value, and here 1 will be cancel each other, and the remaining will be delta z by z is equal to delta a by a plus delta b by b, where a and b as well z are the true values, and delta z, delta a and delta b are the absolute errors, absolute mean errors. So you know that delta z by z or delta a by a, which are known as the relative error. So we can say, in the case of a product or a quotient, the resultant error, the relative error of the resultant will be is equal to sum of the relative error of the for which value you are going to find out the product or quotient, the particular values, individual values, isn't it? So here you are going to find out the product of a and b with error delta a and delta b respectively. Hence delta z by z, that is the relative error, which is equal to the sum of the relative error of the individual quantities, that is delta a by a, that is the relative error of the quantity a, and delta b by b, that is the relative error of the quantity b. So is this much clear regarding the product or quotient, how to recognize the error. Okay, when two quantities are multiplied or divided, the relative error in the result is the sum of the relative errors in the multipliers or dividers. Whichever the values we are using, their individual error, the sum of the relative error of the individual values will be equal to the relative error of the resultant. Okay. Now error in the case of measured quantity is raised to a power. Suppose you are going to find out a raised to n. This is the value, or here it is given as a square. Okay. So a raised to n, z is equal to a raised to n. Now you have to find out the error occurred in this calculation. Okay. So where you can see a raised to, suppose in the in the example it is given that a square, that means a into a into a. So there you can use the multiplication rule. That means delta z by z will be is equal to delta a by a plus delta a by a, that is 2 into delta a by a. So when it was a square, it will be the resultant, or we can say resultant relative error, it is 2 into delta a by a. Okay. So that means suppose if it is n, then it will be is equal to n into delta a by a. Okay. Delta a by a. If it is n, that is, if you are going to find out the error occurred in the value a raised to n, then the error value will be is equal to, that is z is equal to, if z is equal to a raised to n, then the error, the relative error in the resultant delta z by z will be is equal to n into n times delta a by a. Okay. That are regarding the, if the measured quantity is raised to a power, error in the case of measured quantities which is raised to some power. Okay. So now let us come to another example in general. Suppose the value z is equal to a raised to p into b raised to q divided by c raised to r. There the power is there and the multiplication is also considered. So as per the power, you know that delta z by z can be written as, if we are considering ap, then it will be p into delta a by a, that is a raised to n will be is equal to n into delta a by a. Likewise it is. And now you know that it is multiplying with the other terms, that is b raised to q. So for the resultant, you know that in the case of a multiplication or division, the resultant relative error will be the sum of the relative error of the individual quantities, isn't it? So as per that, and it is following the error in case of measured quantity raised to a power, both the results are using here, then delta z by z. If z is equal to a raised to p into b raised to q by c raised to r, then delta z by z, that means the total relative error will be is equal to p into delta a by a plus q into delta b by b plus r into delta c by c. As a definition, the relative error in a physical quantity raised to the power k is the k times the relative error in the individual quantity. The relative error in a physical quantity raised to the power k is the k times the relative error in the individual quantity, k times. That is, if a raised to n, then n delta a by a. Okay, delta a by a. If it k raised to n, then a raised to k, then it will be k delta a by a. Okay. Okay. Thank you. If you are having any doubts, you can ask me, and just do one thing. Go to the textbook examples regarding the combination of the errors. We will discuss that in the coming classes. Okay. Thank you.